What's good, everybody? It is Sunday. I don't even know the date. March 27th, 2022. Welcome into the Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all of sports betting, and it's not even close. Housekeeping before we get to today's slate. Yesterday, Micah, we have not found him yet. It was sitting on 147 with a minute to go, a 9-point game, and Arkansas does not foul. Unbelievably how bad of a beat that was. But our man Calvin Wetzel coming through with our women's college hoops, and he will be back today. All right, now we had a ton of showdowns. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but we've got a little bit of issues here coming right now. And as we speak, I'm literally paying AB my showdown right now, and it says leave a note. And I'm going to write J Smooth talking trash on show. That's in my payment to AB, and I'll tell you what happens in a second. Now, as far as our SportsLine brackets are concerned, here's what that looks like. And yes, if things stay the way they are, our man Jay Smooth does have a chance to win because he made sure and tell us that late last night on the thread. And I will handle that in a second. All right, let's bring in the stars of the show. And it is Sunday brunch. And look at all these smiling faces. And I'm not going to waste any time on this one. So I'm sitting here just working yesterday afternoon. And my son, who had a 2-for-2 game, 3 RBIs, big win, just comes strolling in. He goes, Dad, who's playing on the screen right now? So I tell him, he goes, I was watching the Early Edge this morning, and that guy Jay Smooth was talking trash on you on the show. I said, really? What did he say? He said, I don't know, Dad. Remember, my kid's 11. And he goes, it's something about Iowa State and Miami. Pay up. I'm like, I don't even have a showdown with Jay Smooth on Iowa State and Miami. But apparently, when I'm not on the show, he's talking trash on the game we don't have a showdown on. Jay Smooth, good morning. Would you like to comment on that?
I think I got to go review the tapes, Coach. Good morning, everybody. I think we were talking about that one was with Chip, but if it came out like for you, I'm very sorry. I do know you owe me a little bit of money on Nova, though. That was a great game. Excited.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and I would have no issues with talking trash on that game. None whatsoever. If you knew how to talk trash. Saying pay up is not talking trash. That's not talking trash. I expected something better from you. I really, really did.
You did? Really did. I'm shocked you expected better.
You've been around all these great trash talkers for a while now. Apparently not playing. Okay, all right. I'll go back and revisit it with my son, but we've got to move on. All right. That's what happens when you can't play well in the sandbox, and me too. It's on me too. Now, let's go to your mentor. This is his show, and I apologize that the flow got just thrown off M² on your Sunday brunch. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday brunch. Love all the sports we've got on the menu. Love to watch Jay Smooth try to talk trash. This is going to be a big thing.
And I would love to pay him just like I just paid AB live on the show, but for some reason his name doesn't come up on Venmo. Now, we have brought in a little secret weapon the last couple of weeks, and he's just very quietly been cashing ticket after ticket. And yesterday, UConn, you saw that little green check. Calvin Wetzel, welcome back to the Early Edge, sir.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Good morning, fellas. It's always a great day to be with you guys after a win. UConn cashed for us pretty sweat-free with a big third quarter yesterday, so definitely feeling good.
That is something that we haven't done very much of lately. Is sweat-free. We'll take sweat-free anytime that we can have it. Now, Calvin, I don't know that you've ever been on the show with the man who truly runs the brand, and that is our OG, the Maestro. Maestro, good morning, sir.
Great to be with you guys. Great to meet you, Calvin, in person. And I just couldn't get over the smile on Mikey's face when you were talking about the Villanova, because I know Mikey's thinking if only Justin had gotten real odds, he would be getting a much bigger payout.
Tell me about it.
It's okay. Jay Parlay says, Coach, still a little salty after that Gonzaga play. I'm salty after the last 3 days, period. I went from 8th to irrelevant very, very quickly, and that doesn't sit well with me. But I take it because it's part of it. You got to be able to take the good with the bad. All right, let's get into our storylines that could affect the betting lines today. And oh my goodness, is there a bigger story right now than St. Peter's? So Maestro, I've got to come to you because we have a very important member of our team that is sitting on a very important decision. Talk to me.
Yeah, Mad Max tweeted this out. I think he's got about 100 different suggestions on what to do. He has a $20 ticket on St. Peter's to make the Final Four. All they have to do, and there you see it on the screen, all they have to do is beat North Carolina straight up. He got the ticket right after they beat Kentucky because he was telling me he really likes the matchup against Murray State, and then they would only be 2 wins away. I'm not sure what the cash out option is now. That cash out option that you're seeing on the screen, that was before they took down Purdue. So I'm sure he's got a much bigger cash out. He's telling me that he's probably going to put about $3,500 or $4,000 on North Carolina money line, which would, pay him $1,000. That's what he's thinking about doing. But this is a $10,000 payout if St. Peter's wins outright. Curious what Mikey would do. As we all know, he will know the optimal play.
All right, well, let's go to Mikey right now and let's ask him, what would you do if you were Mad Max?
It's always a tough decision, right? Because it just depends on how much the win impacts your situation, whether it's your bankroll, your life in general. That's always number one. But I do think he's on the right track as far as hedging with the North Carolina money line. The thing that's most interesting about it is how confident is he in St. Peter's, having a chance in this game? Do you do it in game? Do you do it pre-game? Do you take the risk on having to lay even more? Or do you think this game tightens up to the point where you can get a more friendly number on the money line? I personally would wait until the game is live, which I know is very, very nerve-wracking for a lot of people. But I would wait till the game is live, take a little bit more information. But based on how a lot of these games have been going, especially games around this point threshold, we've seen them tighten up. The way that games are officiated, they're called and they tend to become tight. The issue that you have with a team like St. Peter's is a 4-point game where they're down. They're not going to see a similar money line as if Villanova's down 4 to Houston. There's just they're not treated equally there. But at that point, it's really, really tough to say. I would like to say that I wouldn't hedge it at all and let it ride and then be ready to react in game. But it really depends on Max's personal situation and how meaningful the win would be to the bankroll.
Educate, entertain. Tell you all the time, the last 2 minutes, go back and watch that. Listen to great education on how to live bet when you have a guaranteed winner and you need to hedge a little bit. It's very, very, very important. All right, let's stay with Mikey right now because there's been a lot of storylines going on, Mikey, in Saudi Arabia. And I'm not talking about the golf league now. I'm talking about F1. And there was an explosion about 15 kilometers away from the race at a plant. And the driver said, we don't want to play or we don't want to drive. But they're going to. Talk to me.
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy there this week. And one of the craziest results we've seen also, Lewis Hamilton knocked out in Q1, starting 15th in this race. And I'm going to speculate a little bit on this. I followed all this stuff very, very closely. These drivers, after the practice session, FP2, they were up for an additional 5 hours in meetings. Lewis Hamilton, someone who's been very vocal about these issues and human rights issues in general in this region, long before this incident happened. He was very adamant about not wanting to race. To me, it looked like he hadn't slept really at all, which we kind of know to be true because those meetings didn't wrap until around 3 a.m. But here, he was so far off of his teammate that I'm chalking it up a little bit to just not being emotionally locked in there. I think it presents some interesting opportunities on him today. I don't think he has any chance to win the race, but I think that you have some pretty good odds out there on a top 10 finish for him. And then at the top, it's Red Bull and Ferrari. That's the story this year. The Ferrari gains that they have made with the new car and new setup have been incredible. You're seeing it with the Alfa Romeo teams and the Haas teams who both use the Ferrari power. That's enough of the tease. I've got the simulated leaderboard up on SportsLine, and I'm adding the betting picks and DFS to it as soon as we are off the air here.
Boom. And if you're lucky enough to be a SportsLine member, you'll get all of that for one very, very low price. I say it all the time. $10 a month. You spent more on that on Starbucks today, and you can get all of that he just talked about. Great stuff right there. All right, now, we've already talked about Mad Max. We've talked about Saudi Arabia, but we've got to talk about specifically now college hoops today and how sometimes people react to it. Jay Smooth, you're up.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, I really wanted to talk about recency bias and how you can try to become a better gambler by not falling for it, right? We saw a huge example that was very easy to see with Arkansas last night. They did not play a great game coming off of a big win against Gonzaga. Situations like that, letdowns, regression, whatever you want to call it, happen way more than not. And what books know, what the sports books know is that you're going to react to that big win for Arkansas and think, oh man, they're here. And that's everywhere. So just try to maybe take that out of your equations when looking into numbers, what books are offering you. It's going to help make you a sharper gambler, especially in a tournament like this one.
All right. Very, very good. Great advice as well. Now, that's great advice for the men, but it's also great advice for the women. And yesterday, UConn, as Calvin said, sweat-free. However, today, the value may be on something else. Calvin, you're up.
All right, well, Coach, I know you hate this. I know a lot of other people hate this, but value is value. So we have to look at the unders in the Elite Eight. We've talked about how women's college basketball, it's a softer market. They don't always adjust for some of the same things you see in sports like the NBA. One of those things is rest days. So when you look at how teams play when they're rested versus when they're on short rest, 1 day of rest, when they're tired, they're slowing the game down. They're preserving those legs, especially now that we're getting deep into the tournament and rotations are tightening up. You're really only using a couple bench players because of the high leverage situations. Now, these numbers are pretty extreme, probably a little bit of small sample variance too. But if you look at last weekend, the overs in the first round of the tournament were 23-9. The unders in the second round of the tournament were 11-5. And I think part of that is because they're not taking into account how pace changes as teams are, rested or not rested. And we're entering the Elite Eight tonight and tomorrow. Teams playing on 1 day of rest. So I definitely think there could be some value in the Elite Eight unders. I think there's a good chance to go 3-1 and turn a profit there. So if you hate fun, but you love money, definitely check out the unders.
Damn, you just described me to a T. How'd you know me so well, Calvin? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's exactly who I am. All right. Now, let's get into our board for the day because we got a bunch of really cool plays throughout the day. 2 from SportsLine. And if you remember, you already played these. You already beat the number. You're already there. If you're not, let's do it today. Let's do it right now. Come join the community. Be a part of the fun. Now, we're going to go to the NBA for our first play today. The Boston Celtics, they have been dynamic as of late. They are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves in Boston. This game starts at 6 p.m. Eastern time. The Celtics have covered in 4 of their last 5 games. Boston, a perfect 100% against the spread this season when they have at least 3 days off. That's the scenario today. Let's lay the 6 and take it to the window. Then, tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern time, World Cup qualifying. The United States, they cashed for us a couple of days ago. They're going to do it again. But this time, we don't care if they win the game. We only care if they score at least 2 goals. We're going to go team total over 1.5, minus 150, a little juicy. It's all right. It's going to be worth the squeeze. Don't even worry about it. The United States needs 3 big points to secure a top 3 bid. They're motivated tonight. They will score at least 2 times. Now, it's Sunday morning. It is Sunday brunch. That's when we spin it. That's when we evolve. That's when we pick each other up. But it's also where this man goes first. And I love his play today. If you don't feel comfortable with the spreads, oh, Mikey, you know the drill. Son! Go ahead and give it to me.
All right, college basketball here. We're playing both of the games. Kansas money line paired with North Carolina money line, minus 136 on this one. Look, I like the matchup for both of these teams. I really like the matchup for Kansas in this spot. I have them with a pretty distinct rebounding advantage on both ends of the floor. The second chance points, what you cannot allow this Kansas team to get, I think they're going to be able to do. My only worry is McCormick getting in foul trouble against basically a point center in some of the sets. But I love this Kansas team. I think Jalen Wilson's going to crush them on the offensive boards and create second chances. If you're not comfortable with it on the money line here, as these games get tight, or you want to bring that juice down from minus 136, you can play Kansas first half money line. We do expect them to play well in the first half of the game. That'll bring it down to around minus 115. And then on the North Carolina side, I'm sorry, Max, I think they're going to get the win. I think the Baycott and company here, I think that their time likely runs out on St. Peter's here, but we will see. And last piece of advice, if you're still watching on the hedging, I would basically do what we do in some other forms of investing and just dollar cost average it. Basically make a little bit of the hedge now on the money line and then hedge it throughout the game at various points, getting different price points on it. That way you're not locked in and you're not taking all of the risk that way. But let's go North Carolina. I'm sorry, buddy.
I would love to have Max, if you're watching right now, and if somebody can
He's sleeping. He's sleeping for sure.
Definitely.
I would love for him to kind of make us a part of it today. Let us know what he's doing. I would love to know what the sweat is and if he's doing anything what Mikey says or what I just want to know. I just want to know. So let's make sure he makes that public, because right now it's only $20. It's not like he's talking about 10 grand. It's only $20. Let's roll with him. All right. So Mikey has gone. Now, he just played Kansas on the money line. He just played North Carolina on the money line. But he also mentioned another bet that the smart boys, our crew, thinks will also be a good play. So, Jay Smooth, coming to you next.
Yeah, sure, Coach. We're going to go with Kansas for my pick today, too, but we're going to take them in the first half. They were able to get this one done against Providence. I think this Kansas team is going to come out looking great. I fully agree with Mike. That money line looks great. I do like Kansas for the full game spread, but I think this is the right way to take it because Kansas is a little bit prone to falling off at the end of the games. We've seen Remy Martin. I don't really even know how to describe some of his play in the last game, but he kind of let Providence back in that game and they covered. I like making sure we get that early Kansas push as our bet. I think they're going to be able to cover -3 in the first half.
All right. Very, very good. In the chat, it never ceases to amaze me when I get these messages. Everyone loving St. Peter's run except New Jersey bettors who get shut out because of some stupid law. There are so many different ways to bet. I never understand when somebody says, I can't bet. I live in this state. I live in California. We don't have legalized betting. I figure out a way. All right. Now, Calvin, you probably realize there's only 2 people left. Did you realize that?
I did.
Okay. Well, you probably also realize that you're not going last, right? That is the maestro spot. You're aware of that, correct?
I am.
Okay. So I had to calm things down a little bit because I know what you're talking is unders, but I have this gut feeling that you're going to give me a spread pick and not an under because you want to come back on the show in the future. Would that be accurate?
That is accurate. We already talked about unders way too much for today.
All right, let's go then. Bring it to me.
All right, so I got Stanford -6.5. Let's start here. Stanford owes us one. You guys were talking about earlier the Arkansas-Duke bad beat yesterday. I think Stanford's the other day might have been worse. We didn't have it on the show, but on our article, we had Stanford -6.5. In the Sweet 16, they were up 23 in the fourth quarter, let Maryland cut it to 9, and then Maryland hit a meaningless 3 at the buzzer to hook us on -6.5. So Stanford owes us one. We're going to start there, and we're going to collect on that debt today at the same line because Stanford, outside of those 10 minutes of basically cruise control where they stopped playing basketball, has played, in my opinion, some of the best basketball in the tournament. They did play Texas earlier in the year, and Texas barely beat them despite some of the biggest shooting variance you ever see. Texas was over 50% from 3. Stanford was under 15%, their worst shooting performance in over 3 years. Still a really close game. And Stanford also wasn't the same team at that point in the year when they were still figuring out how to play without point guard Keanu Williams last year, who went to the WNBA. It really started clicking around January or so. So Stanford's definitely the better team in this matchup. I'm taking them -6.5.
Damn, when you tell me some of those numbers, I'm all over it too. By the way, quickly, Calvin, in the chat, Gregory says, where can I place bets on women's college basketball? What are some of the sites that, because I know not all sites carry the women's lines.
Yeah, a lot more sites have been carrying them lately. Now that we're into the tournament, you can get Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, DraftKings, PointsBet, pretty much all the main ones at this point. A lot of them didn't have it in the regular season, but as far as I can tell, all the big name ones have it now.
Fantastic. All right. Great job. Great job by you today. Storyline and the pick. Now, I'm feeling some animosity. I'm feeling something coming down the road that I just want to get out of the way when 2 of my biggest players, 2 of my biggest personalities go head to head. So Mikey is on the Kansas money line. Jay Smooth is on Kansas in the first half. Maestro, what are you on today, big boy?
Yeah, it's not a direct showdown. It doesn't seem, but I went 3-1 on showdown, so I'm open if these guys.
Oh, snap!
If
Let's
these guys
go.
want to jump in, I will take the points. I'm not saying Miami's going to win outright, but I do think it's going to be a tight game. I think they actually have a coaching edge in this game. They have a very experienced team that is, yes, they're going to get out rebounded. We know that, but they are going to take care of the ball. 7 turnovers per game over their last 3. They don't make mistakes. They have a lot of shot makers. You have a Kansas team where Remy Martin is going amazing, but Abaji is in a big slump. And I just think we are going to get to the window with a Miami team that's covered 10 of its past 11 as an underdog. 6 to me, a little bit too many.
Would anybody like to challenge the Maestro? Nobody.
That
Okay.
one loss was to me on Nova, but I think I gotta sit that one out. Honestly, I do like that end number at the 6. It's a nice number. I'm taking my first half and running.
To me, do you coach Nova? What do you mean to me? Nova's your team?
I won the showdown.
Oh my gosh! What showdown?
I didn't win the basketball game, Coach.
What showdown are we talking about?
It was Michigan Nova.
Let's talk about Michigan Nova, where Michigan couldn't make a free throw or a layup and lost
Correct.
by 8.
Yeah. My goodness. Crazy show this morning, but we have arrived at the end. Grab your paper, grab your pencil. Big Daddy's in the chat, just trying to get us to lock in St. Peter's, and I think Miami. He likes Big Daddy. We're not rolling with you today, pal. We are not rolling with you today. All right, Maestro, he's on Miami plus the 6. M squared. You want a little money line parlay? We've got that for you too. Minus 136. Then Jay Smooth, let's go first half. KU will get out to a fast start and become the only number 1 seed to make it to Final Four this year. Then our man Calvin just rocking the women's tournament. Stanford minus 6.5. They owe us. Then 2 plays from the almighty SportsLine. Celtics minus the 6 at home against Minnesota. Then we're going to take the United States men's national team over team total 1.5 goals minus the 150. Then the AB 3. And I'll be honest with you, I'm shocked that AB had time to find this today with all the times he is chatting with people and texting people in the chat like it's his own personal little world that he's living in. So, AB, thank you for taking the time to give us Kansas, Pelicans, United States men's over 1.5 goals. All right. Very, very good. All right. Let's bring us back on camera now. Of course, AB. Oh, AB, I'm glad that can you show your face real quick? There's that big old smile. So, I'm shocked that you had the time to figure all this out with how busy you've been in the chat today.
Yeah, no, it got close, right? Like, I was making sure that the chat came first before the show, right? So, yeah.
Hey, you're not the first one to do it. You won't be the last. You won't. Calvin, all of a sudden, your seat's looking very, very warm right now. Very, very warm right now. All right. Thanks,
show, boys.
You're the man. All right. You know what time it is. There's only one thing left to do, and you all know what that is. And the Sunday brunch version is my very, very favorite. You got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, I love them all. M Squared, J Smooth, Calvin Wetzel, and Maestro, and of course, AB on the 1s and the 2s. I am the coach. Tell all your friends. You want to have some fun. You want to laugh a little bit. You want to be included. You want to learn. You want to do all of that. We do it right here at the Early Edge. Good luck.